I spoke with all three of their preferred caterers, and each wanted $25,000 to $30,000 for food only.
How many guests?
I'm like, in what state?
I'm Alaska?
For 500 people?
I don't know. 500 polar bears.
500 polar bears, 3 penguins. Okay. Are there penguins in Alaska? I don't think so.
You could convince me right now, and I wouldn't doubt you.
Do you know the answer? There are whales.
There are whales.
It's an underwater wedding. That's
Yeah.
why it's so expensive.
No, I think all the penguins are in the South Pole.
That's
I
right.
said I didn't know, but I think I did.
I actually do know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the penguin guy.
What's up, Bridal Babes? I hope you're ready to talk weddings with me on another exciting episode of your favorite wedding podcast, Bridal Buzz. I'm your host, Kat, and today we're joined in the studio by Christian.
Hello.
Say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Happy Monday.
Yes, happy Monday. We're recording this on a Monday. Why don't you go ahead and tell them a little bit about your history in the wedding world and what you do?
Of course, yeah. So I am the event sales director at Fair Oaks Ranch Golf and Country Club. We actually did a Bridal Buzz episode out in September,
Yeah.
I think, kind of highlighting the venue, the way that everything is there now. I have been in the events world for, I think, about 3 years now, something like that.
Okay.
I've been working in the private club and hospitality, world for about 5 now. But about 3 years ago, I started working events, working on the execution side, and then kind of worked my way into planning, coordination, things like that. And then back in March, I came down to this job at Fair Oaks Ranch. I was
In the great state of
promoted.
Texas.
Great state of Texas. Came down from Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So thankfully, didn't lose any of the love for country, barbecue, anything like that.
Yep.
And I get to work at one of the most fun places in the world.
Yes. So fun. So yes, Bridal Babes, Christian is a venue coordinator type role at his club, but he's also part of the LGBTQ community. And so today we're going to be not only talking about wedding venue specific questions, but also getting into the realm of this world of weddings that exists for everybody and the fact that love is love. And sometimes things look a little bit different for people in different communities. And how do we approach that? So we're going to talk about that, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be.
Let's go. Yeah.
There might be some
wait.
drama, but it's going to be good.
Not between us, right?
No.
Okay.
We'll spill the tea, but not on ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll just be out there. Okay. So before we get into the Reddit readings, I did want to do a this or that.
Okay.
So I'm going to read out a couple of different wedding related things, and I want you to tell me which one you would prefer. All right?
Okay, I'm game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Glad. If not, this would be really awkward.
Yeah, I'm going home, actually.
I didn't sign up for this. So, okay.
Yeah.
So first, this or that. Private first look or the first look at the ceremony?
Oh, at the ceremony.
Okay.
Because I'm going to cry, but I want that. I want that in the ceremony. I kind of want that in the
Yeah.
pictures, Something that's so beautiful to me about the day is the big emotions, and I'm fully game for that happening at the ceremony.
I love that. And that's like including everybody in that emotion
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I want it to be like real. I mean, not that it's not, but I want to really capture that moment.
Be raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raw. That's a better word.
Love it. So personal vows or traditional vows?
Ooh, okay. So I think I like the idea of personal vows. Just kind of what I saw growing up, that was, you see someone's videos go viral on Facebook or Instagram of their personalized vows and, how it connects to their story as a couple. And I love that so much. My boyfriend's father is actually a pastor. And so he is a PK, a pastor's kid. And I learned that was actually a thing from another one of my friends who's a preacher's kid. But so he grew up kind of seeing all of the really ornamental ceremonial weddings in the
Right.
church.
Right.
And he leans a bit more towards the traditional vows. Since I've met him, I'm starting to weigh traditional vows a little bit more because I'm seeing that through his eyes and the beauty
Aw.
that he sees in that. And I'm like, okay, now I don't know which way I'm going to go. But probably growing up, personal vows, now I'm a little split. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like there could be a way to do both. Even if you're not doing that private first look, like you could have your videographer just record you saying your personal vows before the wedding happens. You could do a blind personal vows where you're just like holding
Yeah.
hands on either side of the wall and say your personal vows to each other. Because I feel you too. Like, I think personal vows are so fun and unique, and it really allows the wedding guests to have a bit of insight into you as a couple that they might not have had. You know, half the people there might not know you personally. And so hearing your point of view and kind of your character come out in that way, I think is special. But there is something to the traditional vows that is like so powerful to
Yeah.
hear somebody say, like, in richness and in poorness, you know.
And
It's
you're finding your own meaning within those traditional vows. You know, it's almost like reading poetry where you're finding yourself in something that already exists.
right.
But in the wedding day, there's so many opportunities to show each other and tell each other how much you love each other.
Yeah.
I think no matter which way you do it, it's going to be wonderful.
Yes, yes. And that goes for everything. And on this show, like, we definitely have a lot of opinions, but it's a DIFY, do it for you, not for us. So make sure you make your
I
own.
like that.
Right?
DIFY. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Because we're like, weddings can be DIY, but they also can be DIFY.
Mm-hmm.
And DIY weddings are not always DIFY.
No.
So
No.
that's a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is kind of a newer concept, and I didn't really know how to describe the difference between the two. But I've been seeing people give wedding dress codes to their guests that are like color specific, like wear these shades of colors.
Like
so,
an assigned color palette?
almost,
Okay.
yeah. So like that kind of dress code, or more of the simple, like cocktail formal type of dress code.
Are we saying a specific color palette for like different groups of guests, or is it everyone needs to be in emerald green? Or are you saying
It's yeah, it could be that.
Okay.
Like, and sometimes people say all of my wedding guests need to wear white. I want everyone to wear white. Or here are my colors in the color palette. Pick something in there to wear because they want them to like fit the aesthetic of the
Yeah.
wedding almost.
I mean, if your photos are really, really important to you, and I know for a lot of people they are, I understand where that's coming from. I think something that gives a little bit more freedom to allow people to kind of dress in something that is also comfortable for them
Right.
that day is maybe I did see like a bridal party where not everyone was in the same dress. It wasn't even the same color, but they were just generally given a color palette of like 5 different colors.
Yeah.
And as long as they all went together, you know, the pictures were wonderful and it looked really cool.
Right.
You had some that were in like a forest green, some were in more of like a rust color. There was a bit of mustard in there and it all blended really
Yes.
well. Maybe that's a way to get everyone in on that aesthetic, but also give them that freedom of kind of dressing in a way that's comfortable for them.
Right. So like not just one color, but giving them a palette of options.
And then, you know, maybe not everyone is necessarily having to buy a new garment to attend, which
Exactly.
might impact their ability to come.
yes.
You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of where my mind goes.
So you're like, if you were to do that, that's how you would approach it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I would do it.
Yeah. I like the idea of having specific colors. I mean, as a bride that is getting married in like almost 2 months. I'm
Oh my
freaking
gosh,
out.
so close.
People are asking me like, what color are the bridesmaids wearing? What color, you know, because they don't want to wear the same color as the bridesmaids and all these things. And I'm like, should I have put colors on the invitation? Should I put colors on the website? Personally, if you wear the same color as my bridesmaids, I'm not going to be freaking out.
Right.
You know, they're wearing something pretty unique too, so I highly doubt people will be wearing the exact same thing as them. But I'm also not like, if it makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry about that, but it doesn't make me uncomfortable if you're wearing, you know, a pink jumpsuit, just like my bridesmaids are or something. So
are they all wearing pink jumpsuits?
so it started out kind of like, I don't want them to wear dresses.
Okay.
So I sent them a bunch of pantsuits and jumpsuits in different shades of pink, peach, like beige. The more I've like dived into this with them. Dove. I think that's a word. Dove. I dove in. I dove in.
It's not dove. Yeah. It's one of them.
Either or. Pink jumpsuits are the easiest thing to find.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be maybe some peachy, beigey tones in there, but I'm kind of thinking they're mostly going to be wearing different shades of pink jumpsuits.
That's going to look great, though.
One of them has a pantsuit already, though, so it's like there's going to be some mixing and matching of
Perfect.
and I'm really excited about it. And all of Jackson's groomsmen are going to be wearing different shades of blue, too.
Oh, good. Yeah. It's not often that I see a splash of color on the groom's side, so
right?
that's exciting.
Yeah. I might be wrong, call me out, Bridal Babes, but I've never seen anybody having their groomsmen in mismatching outfits, so...
No, I haven't run into that. I have seen, I saw this one where they were all in emerald green, and I fell in love with that.
That is a sexy color.
Emerald green with a gold tie.
Wow.
That's good to me.
That's like, I want to smell pine trees and give me winter wedding.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So for the reception, assigned seats or sit where you want?
Assigned seats.
Yeah.
Not assigned seats, but at least assigned tables.
Yeah.
Like table numbers. Even if you're not assigning seats, I would say have table numbers because that gives some organization to it. But honestly, you're doing a guest a favor, in my opinion, by telling them kind of where to sit, because then they're not straddled with the worry of, okay, am I sitting with someone that is saving a seat for someone else? You know, am I sitting too close to the bride's table? Would they prefer for someone else to be sitting, this close to the couple?
Yeah.
I think you're doing your guests a favor by at least telling them which table, which part of the room they're kind of expected to sit in.
Agreed. I think a free-for-all is a little bit more stressful for the guests than one could anticipate because of all of those like etiquette stressors and just like, if somebody has 3 people in their party and then there's 2 and then there's like an empty chair,
or you're moving chairs and adding extra settings and everything,
makes very messy situations. Yeah.
It just gets complicated.
I agree. And I agree on not, you don't have to assign everybody their specific seat unless you're doing plated with options where they have to choose. But at least tell them generally where they should go and sit down. Okay. So, wedding outfits, suit or tuxedo?
Ooh. I've actually come to like the suits a little bit more recently. The tux is still classic, but I think I might be in a suit on my wedding day, personally. Yeah.
We just got Jackson his suit, actually, because after the wedding, we feel like it's going to be a lot more versatile.
You can use it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a tuxedo is for a very specific event. And we don't really go to those events very often. Yeah. So, yeah.
And when it comes to the guests, I mean, if you're asking all the guys to wear a tux, again, that comes back to the whole dress code thing. If you're asking them to wear a suit, they might already have that.
Yes.
How many of us have a tux hanging in the closet?
Right. Yeah.
I know I don't.
And if you do, does it still fit?
No, probably not.
Because I know a lot of people. Like my dad is one person who his body has really not changed throughout my life. Like he's always been the same weight, but a lot of people's bodies fluctuate, you know? Yeah. And so if you got your suit for prom or, some frat formal and now you're in your late 20s and it just might not be the same thing. So,
and that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. But it's just, so we don't know if that's an option for everybody is all I'm getting at.
Suit is I think just easier. Just easier.
Yeah. And then you don't have to worry about people kind of like updressing if you're doing suits and you're doing formal or a semi-formal. Just I would recommend not doing a black tie if you're going to be wearing a suit as a groom or in your bridal party, just to avoid other guests wearing quote unquote like a nicer outfit. I would say, but that's to each their own. DIFY.
DIFY.
So, okay, Cake or a dessert bar?
I love a dessert bar so much. I mean, I love the pictures with the cake. I will probably still have one because I know that that's going to be important to my partner, and I want to smush some cake into his
Yeah.
face, right?
You
Like
want
that's
that
going to be
moment.
fun.
Yeah.
And I feel like, if I did that with cheesecake, it would be almost rude. So,
Or like an apple pie.
right, like
Yeah.
that's a little too much.
Yeah.
So I'll do the dessert bar for us and our guests to enjoy, but I'll probably still have a cake
Yeah.
for pictures and
Like a
just for the
smaller cake.
tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that is becoming more and more what we're seeing. And that's what I thought I was going to do. I did end up getting a bigger cake though, just because when I tried the cake, I was like,
Oh, it's
this
so
is
good.
so good. I want everybody to eat this. So we might have some other dessert options at the end of the wedding for like a late night snack. But yeah, I think I'm seeing more and more just a small cake to have that tradition of cutting the cake, or having like a fake cake with just the bottom layer being real so that you can cut it. Just something to have that tradition.
See, I do like the idea of having like an actual cake because, maybe you can save the topper or something
True.
like that. And you do have some cake for your guests if they do want to eat the cake. So I probably won't do a fake one.
Yeah.
But I do understand the utility of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, and I think what they typically do with the fake cake is they'll have sheet cake in the back that will fill in for the other
Oh,
tiers.
see, and that I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just so that you can have that kind of like bigger cake, but not have to pay, upwards of $1,000 just to have a big cake look at your wedding.
Yes.
And not everybody wants that big cake look. So to each their own.
I've even done a wedding with a s'mores bar before.
Love that.
That was a hit.
Love
That was a huge hit. Yeah.
Especially like at a hill country venue in October, November, s'mores bar outside. So fun.
Spring or fall.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as it's, one of those two seasons where it's going to be a little bit colder at night, we've done s'mores bars, and I mean, people love it.
Yeah.
So people get really creative, and that's an exciting thing to see.
Yeah. I've heard like milk and cookies bars too.
Oh, yeah.
Super cute. Yep.
Sunday bars, done those.
Here in Texas, I don't know if nothing bundt cake is everywhere.
They are.
Okay.
They were in Nashville at least
Okay.
when I was there.
Yeah, I'm like, it might be a southern thing. It might be everywhere. I could just be wrong.
Right.
But the buntinis, those little tiny.
Did they come in a martini glass?
Oh, that'd be so cute. No, they're just
Oh.
teeny bunts.
Okay, like teeny
Buntinis.
tiny. Okay.
Teeny tiny.
Teeny tiny. Buntini.
They're like cupcakes without being in a cup.
Oh,
you
that's
know?
so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've seen those at weddings too, like just little, and that you can have multiple flavors of these buntinis. So
We did one, I think we did a brunch wedding in October that just had a whole spread. They had the red velvet, they had the carrot cake, and then I think there was a cinnamon one as well. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
without giving too much away.
Okay. We'll keep it secret, and then the day after I'll have one
Oh
like
my
on my
gosh.
doorstep, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, though, when I tried it, I was like, the saddest thing about my wedding cake is that I have to wait until my wedding day to eat it again.
Don't you love that though?
Right?
Because that's something to look forward to.
Yes, exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's how I know that's the one. That I said yes to the
You
right
made
cake.
the right choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with my wedding dress. I just like, I tried it on and I couldn't stop thinking about it for like 3 or 4 days. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess that's the one. Because
That's when you know.
I've never had that experience before.
Yeah, if you've tried on 10 different dresses and the rest of them,
Yep. They're just over
but
my
then
head.
you're dreaming about that other one.
Literally, I woke up in the morning and
Yeah.
was like typing in the name and the designer and looking at the online listing because I didn't have any pictures of myself in it on my phone. That was too risky. So I'm just like looking
Okay.
at the online listing like, wow, you're so beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm like in the process of finishing up my alterations and stuff, which by the way, unrelated to this episode, I want to introduce you to Ashley at A Cherie.
Okay.
She's literally right down the road from you.
Oh my God, wait. So I was just out on the town with Shauna with
Okay.
Savvy Southern Events. We were going around and we were looking for A Cherie, but I think it took us to their old address. So I would love,
Yes.
because we were trying to find them.
Yeah,
that
it's
day.
on the same road as you, as Fair Oaks Ranch.
Then I probably just went to the wrong building.
And it's
okay.
it's like there's a building and then behind that building is where they are. And it's like a 2-story black with limestone, modern type of
They are
little...
right behind Bloomhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll be there tomorrow, actually.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah. Well, I'll be at the club.
Yeah,
You
maybe
should
I'll come say hi.
Yeah.
Okay. Next. First dance. Would you want to do a slow, intimate first dance or something like fun and upbeat?
For me, slow and intimate.
Yeah.
I was never a dancer.
Okay.
You know, the only dancing that I did was choreographed for musicals,
Yeah.
and I don't think we need grease lightning at
You
my
don't want to do
wedding.
You're the One That I Want?
Well, actually, okay, that one we might be able to make some time for.
Yeah.
But for a first dance, I want it to be slow because honestly, I think Andrew and I are going to, take a class for our first dance so that it can be like a really low anxiety experience.
Yes.
Because for me, like I'm not a big dancer, I don't go out on the dance floor much. It's just not something that I love as much, but I want to have that first dance and I want it to be comfortable and
Yeah.
fun and easy. So
What about Andrew? Is he a dancer?
I think he probably is maybe more comfortable than I am, or I could be wrong. We don't dance much together. We just don't. We do other things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we're probably going to do a slow first dance and then get maybe some lessons.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I don't even know what my first dance song is yet. So
okay, yeah.
that's where I'm at.
That's exciting, though.
I need to figure it out, and I am comfortable dancing. I grew up doing musical theater as well, but my fiance is very much like let's just sway back and forth. Nobody's looking.
See, I love that. That's my speed.
So I need to make sure he's comfortable and we're not stepping on each other's toes. And I typically will lead. If he's not leading, I'll be like, okay, this is what we're doing. But we have to be on the same page. So I hope he's open to doing some lessons or just like watching some YouTube tutorials or something.
In my mind, it can only make you more comfortable on the day
Right.
of to do that ahead of time.
Yeah, even if it's like, oh my gosh, this was the worst experience ever, at least you can laugh about it, and you probably will feel more comfortable dancing with each other after doing something so ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So 10 out of 10 would recommend.
So are you thinking probably a slower song for your first
Yeah,
dance?
and originally I was thinking something fast and fun because I knew Jackson was more like doesn't like to be too serious and all of that.
Yeah.
But when I brought it up to him, he was like, "No, let's do something more like classic," you know. So I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I was picturing us putting on Danny Zuko and
that'd be
like
so good.
I got chills, and coming in from the opposite sides of the reception hall, and like I had a whole thing mapped out in my head. But no, I think we're gonna do something slow.
Yeah.
And actually, off the record today, I was listening to Sarah Vaughan's version of "Come Rain or Come Shine." And I love that song so much. And I was thinking about singing it for him. But there's something about singing at my own wedding that feels very much like showy and for everyone else and not actually for me and Jackson.
I've had that thought too, and I've kind of stepped back from it because I'm like, okay, but what does that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And I'm like, Jackson hears me sing every day. So to be like, I'm going to sing him a song and make it a big moment is like, that's not for him.
Like
you know?
he's heard me sing in the shower.
Yes,
So,
yeah. Literally, he wakes up to me being like, in the bathroom, you know, like, I'm just.
So, okay, you might have the same experience as me. My partner, he's not the one that's going to be singing all throughout his day, but I'm cutting carrots. I'm singing a song about it. I'm shampooing. I'm singing. I'm cleaning. I'm singing. Like, it doesn't stop throughout the day.
No, it never stops.
And he can't relate. He doesn't get it.
Doesn't
So he's
get
like,
it.
oh my God, is there just always music? Yes.
Yes, literally.
There is.
I've ever had somebody be like, wow, I've never met somebody who just like sings as much as you. And I'm like, is that a problem? Like, I'm feeling very self-conscious in your presence now.
Don't dull your sparkle.
No, I haven't. I'm not friends with that person anymore, actually. Sorry to the haters.
Oops. Yeah. I mean, I think about it this way, going back to the dance portion of it, like, slow song or fast song. When I think about my wedding, honestly, what I think about most is what is going to pull at my heartstrings that day.
Yeah.
What is going to hit me right here, where all of those romantic feelings are that I'm going to remember forever. And that's what I want. And I think a slow song is going to accomplish that for me.
Yes.
For me.
Yes. It just is like such a mature moment too. Like, could be fun to do something silly, but there's just something so, like adult about a slow dance in front of a group of people.
I like something fun and energetic for like the introduction
Yeah.
or maybe later in the night, right? But I think,
Mm.
yeah, for the first dance, mine is going to be pretty slow and intimate.
Yeah, it could be fun to have like a flash mob moment halfway through the dance
Oh my gosh.
floor.
I could never coordinate my family to that level, but I appreciate your confidence in thinking that I could.
You're like, there's got to be a TikTok song that
Yeah.
everybody can know a little bit of, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
Okay, how many do we have left? I think just two or three. Open bar or cash bar?
Oh, okay. I don't
Hot
even
seat. Hot
I don't
seat.
think I've gotten that far yet.
Okay.
I think open bar, and if not open bar, at least like some level of bar service that is covered
Yeah.
by us
Like
as the
wine
couple.
and beer.
Wine and beer at least.
Yeah.
And when I think about the crowd that's going to be attending our wedding, it is probably more a wine and beer crowd. And I also, the recommendation that I always make to brides when we're planning their wedding and deciding which package to go with, I say, it really depends on how much your guests are going to make use of that open bar package. If they're not going to have, a drink an hour or something like that, if your average guest is only going to have two drinks throughout the entire night, then you're probably better off doing open consumption or, beer and wine and not doing that 4 hour open bar package.
Yeah.
And I think that's where mine is going to land as well, just because of who's going to be in
Yeah.
attendance.
Yeah. And it's like totally just knowing your guest list, knowing your people and what is worth spending the money on
Yeah.
and what you would rather spend somewhere else.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because I have heard, it does happen every now and again where a wedding it goes open consumption rather than just like a prepaid open bar package. But they have a crowd where they really could have used a prepaid package. And then at the end of the night, the bill is just astronomical. So basically what I try to tell people and what I'm trying to think of for myself is, as long as I don't think that that's going to happen, if I just say, hey, charge us whatever is consumed, then that's a perfectly fine route to go.
Yeah. Okay. So that's open bar versus open consumption.
Yeah. And I might be using the wrong words here, but like
Sounds right to me.
like an open bar package, prepaid, that'll be per hour per person over 21. And then like a hosted consumption bar, when it's hosted on consumption, that'll mean that we as the couple or we as the family are paying for each of the drinks, but we're not prepaying for bottomless service.
Right.
We're just saying, hey, whatever you get is on us. To your average wedding guest, both of those are on open bar.
Right.
Right. But then on our end,
It
as
looks
far
a
as
little
planning, it
different.
makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. I knew there was the option, but I didn't know exactly what it was called. So, yeah. Okay. So, last question, indoor or outdoor wedding?
Out. Oh, wait, no.
Or both.
Okay. So for me growing up, I definitely thought probably an outdoor ceremony. Now that I'm with my current partner, I know that the ceremony is going to be in a church because it's
Okay.
going to be a service as
Right.
well.
Right. Will his dad be
and
the officiant or
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't know if that would be preferred or not. We'll see.
Yeah,
Right.
you'll get there when you get there.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. But I do know that it will be in a church, because of that and, his family's connection to the church. That's very
Right.
important
Yeah.
to Andrew. And because of that, it's become important to me.
Hmm.
In terms of the reception, I need that to be inside because I need my air conditioning. I need that.
Yeah. Yeah. Bring the AC. It's
I was not made for the southern heat.
No, we were born in the time where AC exists and we like having it.
Yes, please. Let's take advantage.
Yes, please. I will take the AC.
Uh-huh.
Check that on the list. Okay, that's it for our this or that
All right.
wedding edition with Christian. Now let's get into some wedding stories from Reddit. Again, we specifically looked for ones that were more geared toward venue specific or LGBTQ specific questions. So I'm really excited to get your take and your reaction to some of these situations. And
I can't wait.
hopefully Bridal Babes, you guys get a lot out of this. And again, like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, leave a comment if you feel like you have a story to tell or you want to respond to one of these stories as well, we want to hear your takes. So the comment sections are always open and we are always dying to hear from you guys. So with that, let's go ahead and get into our first story. Okay. So the title is Rant. Venue seemingly cannot remember that we aren't straight.
Oh, wow.
My fiance and I are both AFAB, which means assigned female at birth. And so we specifically chose a venue that claims to be supportive of LGBT weddings, even making a few lists of the most inclusive venues in our metropolitan area. However, they have sent us a number of messages asking about the groom and the groomsmen and where the, quote, best man is and all that crap. It's so frustrating having to remind them every single time that there is no groom. And not that it matters, we both have extremely common names for girls born in the 90s. Nothing that could be considered gender neutral. Think like Sarah, Jessica, Elizabeth. Like, all they would have to do is read our names, and they would be clued in that just maybe we aren't men. And it's not like we want special treatment, but you'd think after spending 15 grand, you would get a slightly more personalized customer service experience. I can't imagine any bride, regardless of sexuality, would want to be called a man on their big day. And that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to wonder in that scenario, have they met with the planner at the venue, has the planner at the venue met with them, is really what I should ask, because
Right.
they should be reaching out and scheduling that appointment.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like that personal connection hasn't been established, which is so important, especially if having that, inclusive experience, LGBT inclusive
Right.
experience is going to be so important for you. You want to know who you're working with.
Yes.
I know myself, if I kept getting asked about my bride or where the
Bridesmaids
bridesmaids
and-
are. Now, I understand a little bit more the confusion with like bridesmaids and things like that, because when you think about two guys getting married, two women getting married, or and
Whatever
really
in between.
any sort of queer wedding that
Yeah.
falls under that LGBTQ plus umbrella,
Yeah.
everything is going to be so unique to the couple. You don't want to make assumptions about kind of how they're going to name this and how they're going to walk through all this. But
Right.
if you know that it's two women that are getting married, I mean, the least you can do is not ask about the groom.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah.
I did meet a couple actually at one of the most recent shows that we went to. I think it was the JW Marriott.
Nice.
And they were so sweet. And I started to ask them about, what they were going to call kind of each of the different groups, because basically the wedding party,
Yes.
right? Because that's always one of my first questions when I'm working with a queer identifying couple.
Which is amazing.
Well, and it comes from experience,
Right.
Because I know what I would want to be asked. But I always want to ask them, first of all, okay, what are each of you wearing? Because I don't want to assume that you're going to be in a dress. I don't want to assume that you're going to be in a suit.
Right.
I don't want to assume that you're going to be in parachute like pants or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is completely up to you.
And those things kind of matter because you need to know in the timeline, do we need to, bustle the dress, things like that. So those are important questions.
And
Yeah.
these days they matter to, everyone, not just queer identifying couples.
Yeah.
It could be, everyone is just kind of, they're,
FY.
DIFY,
Yeah.
right? So it's important to know kind of what your bride and what your groom, whoever is involved in that wedding, needs and what they're looking for and who they are.
Yeah. I think like you said, it's like establishing that personal connection.
That's
and
huge.
Yeah, and so I do wonder, did you tour the venue in person before booking it? Did you meet this venue coordinator like you're saying? Have they put face to name? Have they put, identity to who you are as a client
Right.
booking the venue? Still no excuse.
No.
I think they should at least be reading over a contract, and seeing Jessica and Elizabeth is a pretty fair guess that this is two women getting married. And if there's any question there, they should be confirming with
Yeah.
the couple before assuming anything.
These are all questions that you ask up front.
Right.
And if you're asking the right questions when you're talking to a bride, you're going to know in your first call
Yes.
that you're dealing with a queer couple.
Yeah.
if you don't know that, then you're probably not asking the right questions, or you're not taking the right notes.
Yes.
And every wedding, at a venue is going to have a file of notes on them and what they're looking for and where the plans are right now. And it sounds like someone either didn't read those, or maybe there was some changeover in personnel.
Yeah, maybe someone new came in, or
Yeah. But that's unfortunate. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And it's interesting to me that this is a venue that claims to be supportive of LGBT relationships. And it's sad that there are some that aren't, right?
Yeah.
And that as a queer couple, you have to be concerned about these things still in 2023. But, the fact that they went out of their way to make sure that they were in a situation that they were going to feel comfortable and had the vendors around them supporting them, and still felt like they weren't recognized for who they were, is really unfortunate.
There's a big difference between saying, I don't have a problem with you being gay, versus I'm going to understand and celebrate that aspect of your identity and that aspect of this wedding, because that is important to you.
Yes.
And you need to know the difference when you're choosing your venue, your coordinator, your vendors, everything there, because people will say that they're accepting, but you want to be more than just accepted. You want to be celebrated.
Yes. And you want to be understood.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. That is such a good differentiator to make, because there are venues that, you can be gay and you can get married here, but it doesn't mean they understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And are gonna jump through hoops to make sure you feel celebrated and just as much of a bride or a groom or whatever you want to be referred to as on your wedding day as possible. So I do hope that this couple still had an amazing wedding regardless.
I'm sure they did.
Right. Because at the end of the day, the people who don't pay attention to details, the people who disregard, who you are, we can leave them in the dust. Yes, they work at the venue, but it doesn't define your venue, and it doesn't define your wedding, and it doesn't define your big day. So
it is your day.
Exactly. And so the top comment on this says, "That's ridiculous. Even if it was an automated or copy-paste message, it's easy enough to say happy couple or wedding party and just take gendered terms out of the equation. I would absolutely complain." And then another person says, in a different comment, yes, venues that list themselves as LGBTQ plus inclusive because they don't see themselves as actively hating queer people, but also don't care to do the work to be actual allies to the community by removing gendered language and challenging their own assumptions, like assuming a wedding has a bride and groom by default.
And that is going to be the difference between acceptance and celebration.
Yes. Yeah. And you don't want to just be accepted on your big day. You want to be celebrated.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to walk out of the dressing room and see their coordinator or whoever on the big day and just be accepted?
Right.
No, you want to
or then be like surprised that you're not the gender that they thought
right. Oh my gosh. Walking in on the
you're
day.
You're in the groom suite? That's so sorry. Yeah.
Because what I think about with the situation is, okay, it sounds like this has already been going on for some time, and that's what makes it, truly, it's more than a faux pas at that point, because it's continued and it sounds like they've corrected them.
Yes.
How far does that go before you eventually realize, right? I mean, what if you're a week out from the wedding and that light bulb finally goes off, and it's like, oh, well, our venue actually isn't compatible with that in the way that it's laid out.
Right. Yeah.
If you're somewhere where they have specific men's dressing rooms and women's dressing rooms,
right,
and
like
the
public shared spaces,
and
right?
The way that you're planning your wedding doesn't fit with that. You need to know that, and they're not going to be able to give you that information if they don't know who you are.
100%. Woo! To all the venue coordinators out there, listen to your couples.
Listen.
Read their names.
Yes.
Get
on the phone. Ask a couple questions.
FaceTime them. Ask for some pictures of their proposal. Get to know them. Make them feel special, regardless of who they are and who they're marrying. So, okay. Great response. Next question. So the title of this one is "Asked to Change My Wedding Date. ... Help." Hi. So my fiance and I got engaged a few months ago, and we signed our venue, DJ, food, etc. for July 2022. My cousin recently got engaged and lives in the Mediterranean. She found a venue, and because of work commitments, school not being out, and concerns about weather, also wants to get married in July 2022. My aunt and my own mother have been persistently asking us to change the date to accommodate my cousin as, quote, we can get married any time of the year. I'm not sure what to do. All our things are booked. My fiance's family booked their planes and travels around our wedding. I was even told that most of our family will go to the Mediterranean as everyone is eager for a vacation opportunity. Any advice or thoughts would be appreciated. And it looks like this was 1 year ago, so it was about 6 months before their wedding.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think I actually read this one.
Oh,
I know
really?
this one.
So you're on Reddit.
I
Okay,
I'm
cool.
on Reddit. I'm not posting,
Like,
but
how
I'm
many
reading.
bananas did you scroll last
I'm
year?
reading. I want to know. Right. And I did come across this one. Was this in AITA?
They might have posted it in
Okay.
AITA. We don't read AITA here just
Right.
because I try not to use cuss words, and
Yeah.
it's like you can't not when
Yeah.
reading things from Am I the Beephole? So, but they could have said,
I think
like,
it might have
eventually
been
maybe they're saying, AITA, that I'm not going
that
to
I'm
change
not.
my wedding.
I think that's what happened. I did see it was an update post because I saw it on that subreddit.
I want to go look at their
And
account and see if I can find it.
yes, please, because if it wasn't them, then it was someone with the same story. And I feel so strongly about this. No, do not change a thing because you had your wedding planned out. I mean, it sounds like they had this planned out more than a year in advance,
Yeah.
and then someone is deciding 6 months away that they're going to. I mean, the cousin knew about the wedding date when they booked this venue. They could have done it a month later. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They really could have.
Or
And
like a month earlier.
a month earlier, a month later. I mean, the weather is beautiful in the Mediterranean,
Right?
so
Yeah, I'm sure June versus July, there's not much of a difference.
I wouldn't know, but yes, I'm sure it's all wonderful. And really, the problem is just asking someone to make that big of a change just so that someone else can do something that hasn't even been set in stone yet.
Yeah.
When you've booked your venue, I mean,
Everything.
Think
Catering.
about the deposits. Mm-hmm. Yeah, is auntie or mom going to pay for that?
Right? Yeah. Is
Yeah.
cousin going to help you cover the price to change your date on
Yeah.
all of your contracts?
Because that adds up,
Yeah.
especially once you're getting closer.
Wow. Okay, I did go and look at their profile, and they have a lot of stories posted about their wedding, actually.
Oh, okay.
And so it looks like there's one on the LGBT weddings subreddit. There's one on wedding shaming subreddit, wedding planning subreddit.
Oh my gosh.
And there is one on AITA but asking, to am I
Yep.
to cancel bridesmaid speech at my wedding? I don't see AITA for telling my husband we should use our baby planning money to compensate our wedding venue from the same person. I'm going to have to save this account.
This
and
is
we're
someone
gonna,
that needs to be on the pod.
right?
right?
They're like putting it out there for people too. I love
Yeah.
it. Okay, I'm following this person. I'm coming back to your stories. They have 1,200 karma. I want to be your friend.
That's a lot, right?
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, I don't really engage much on.
Yeah.
I want to, but yeah, that's a lot of credit.
It means you're definitely on there
Yes.
and doing stuff.
Yeah, and people are voting for your
Yeah,
stuff
okay.
too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the bottom of this post, it also says P.S.
Okay.
I must also mention that we are two men getting married, and most of my family does not accept it for religious reasons.
This is why their wedding is getting put to the wayside, and
Yep.
that hurts so much to
Yeah.
hear. I'm so sorry to this couple.
Yeah. Over the past 5 months, we have had to endure an intervention and being told that two men should not have a ceremony or walk down an aisle, should not be able to commemorate a wedding with a kiss or have a first dance. We have been called an abomination and essentially told that our wedding is less than that of my cousin. It's been so hard. I don't even think I read this section when I
Wow.
picked out this story today, actually. That's awful.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, do it for yourself.
DIFY.
If your family is not going to come, and it sounds like, unfortunately, they might not they might have already been planning not to come.
Yeah.
Because
And this
they're
is just
taking issue with
the
the ceremony.
excuse that they
That's
needed.
the excuse.
Yeah.
You know, find someone who is going to celebrate you. Invite
Yes.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the person that you need at your wedding, is someone who's going
100%.
to stand in that with you and celebrate you.
Yep.
I mean, it's 2023.
And at this point, I would uninvite them to the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what? You don't have the option to come to my wedding anymore. I'm a huge advocate for, if someone doesn't support your relationship, why would you
they be
want
at the
them?
wedding?
Yeah. Why are they? That's the day where you show up to support and celebrate.
Oh, yeah.
You're not invited if you don't support. So, and that's like one of the most heartbreaking things to experience while wedding planning, is realizing people's true colors.
Yeah.
And thinking, you know, maybe they'll change. Maybe their minds will be
It can bring a
opened.
lot out of people. You see it all the time.
And so it seems like this Reddit user is just at this point realizing, like, my family is not going to open up to the fact that I'm marrying a man. And that's just so heartbreaking to me. You know, I don't have that exact experience where people are that, it's just different, but I do have to uninvite and not allow people to be there on my wedding day because they're not supporting me and my relationship. So.
And why would you go to an event to celebrate a relationship that you don't support?
Right.
You know?
For free food and drinks.
Free food and drinks. Okay. I feel for this couple. I also feel confident that they found a solution that works for them, because it sounds like they've got a good head on their shoulders, and that my hope is that they would come to the realization that, okay, let's just make this wedding day happen, have the people there that are important, and, pardon my language, screw anyone else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, literally. They can go eat their own eggs.
Yeah. No, those are too expensive.
Eggs are not these days. Save the eggs. Okay. The top comment on this says, they can wait until 2023 then.
They can.
Literally. Like, if you want a July wedding so badly, sis, wait in line.
Yeah.
Like.
And if you want to take a July Mediterranean vacation, then great. Okay, go with us, celebrate after the wedding, before the wedding, whatever, but celebrate this union, because this is beautiful.
Yeah. It also, I'm like questioning the cousin here. Like, can you chill? Do you have no respect for your cousin who has already planned their wedding?
Sounds like it.
Right? Like, no respect.
It's really unfortunate.
No concern. Like, no chill.
No chill.
No chill here. Let's see if there's anything else.
This is going to be a good profile to just like sit back with a glass of wine and just scroll.
Well, I'm like, I want to know where these guys are at in 2 years.
I want to know where they are now.
Like,
has the wedding happened?
How's the baby planning going?
Did the date happen?
Okay. I think they had the wedding. Let's see. Let me just see if there's any. I mean, I saw the update of, can we use wedding planning money or baby planning money to compensate the wedding venue? I think that was what it was.
I hope not for rescheduling.
Oh my gosh.
I hope they didn't. Because that is your day.
This was half a year ago. Hello, strangers of wedded. I know this title sounds bad, but here we go. My husband and I recently got married, and it was a beautiful day. Truly the best day of our lives.
Yay.
Yay.
We love a happy ending.
Woohoo. So it sounds like there was an issue the day of the wedding where something was broken at the venue.
Oh, okay.
And so they are now having to pay the venue back for, like, it says the husband's aunt slipped on a broken step, has a broken shoulder, something. Oh, she intends to sue the company that owns the venue.
Oh.
That's messy.
This is why.
That's a whole different episode.
Yeah. That's an hour-long conversation right
Liability,
there.
contracts, wedding insurance. Yeah, we'll get to that on a different episode. But I followed this account. If him and his husband ever update, we will know.
Good. And baby plans, I want to know.
Yes,
I want to know where those
are. Ugh. Okay, so I think that pretty much sums it up. I mean, the other people. Oh, here's one that he responded to. So they said, also, I would be angry and sad. Someone else commented, also, I would be angry and sad if my mom said something like this to me. How are you feeling? OP responds, honestly, have spent a good bit of the day crying and feeling like garbage, but we all get through it. Thanks for asking. Heart emoji. Aww.
See, I feel so much more for this couple. Already the whole situation was like messy and unfortunate, but then that extra layer
The
there,
backstory.
it's just it tugs at my heartstrings.
Yeah. And like it's so hard to hear family being caught up in their own backwards opinions on things, instead of just loving him for who he is and celebrating the fact that he's going to be with somebody that loves him.
Absolutely.
You know?
That is the most important thing at the end of the day.
Do. Oh my gosh, this one's crazy. Okay.
I'm ready. Fire away.
I got robbed at my own wedding.
What?
Title says it all. Mostly need to vent. My wedding was amazing until it was just about time for my exit, and I went to the bridal suite and found our wallets had been stolen. Why did I pay so much for security to be robbed at my own wedding? They had spent $2,000 before we even knew it because neither of us had our cell phones on us to get the bank alerts on our phone. Venue doesn't seem to care at all and doing nothing to rectify the situation. They were actually mad when they found out I was allowed to see the security footage.
Oh my gosh.
Not only was $2,000 stolen, but so was our wedding night. I'll never get that back. Instead of being blissfully happy with my husband, I ended up crying, filing a police report, and calling our banks, credit cards, etc. until 3 a.m. this morning. And that's it.
It doesn't have any resolution
No
there?
freaking resolution to this story.
Oh my gosh.
I can't imagine the just like vulnerability I would be feeling in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel violated.
So violated.
Yeah.
Yeah. To think that my personal items were in a private room that people didn't have access to and they went missing is just terrifying.
It is important on the venue side to really let the couple know kind of which spaces are secure and which spaces aren't, because
Right.
if you're thinking that a room is secure that actually isn't, I would rather just know up front, this room isn't secure. Okay, I won't keep my wallet in here. I won't keep my phone in here.
Right.
That will be somewhere else.
Yes.
But to walk in and have that feeling of security and privacy and then know that it was rummaged through, that's really,
Yes.
yeah, that's a
It's
violation.
not okay. And every venue is different, right? Like at Fair Oaks Ranch, it's also a country club.
Yeah, it is.
At hotels, there's going to be other guests that are staying at the hotel that maybe they don't have access to the section of the hotel where the weddings are at, but I don't know. Every venue is different.
Yeah.
And so it's very important to know ahead of time, how much public access does this space have? Also, do I trust the people that I'm inviting to my wedding?
Yeah, because you're also bringing people. You are bringing people into that equation, and let's be honest. When people are involved, things get complicated.
Yes, and when drinking is involved,
Yeah,
people get complicated. I, without mentioning names, know of somebody who was a bit unhinged, wasn't in the healthiest place of their life, and stole the tip jar from the DJ.
Oh no!
And went and bought illegal things.
Oh no!
Yeah. So crazy things happen at weddings.
Yeah.
Crazy things happen when people are under the influence. And I think this story actually has a little bit of a deeper, I read the comments a little bit. So I'm going to point out again that they put in the story that the venue was mad when they found out that they were going to have access to the security footage from that night.
Yeah.
Why would the venue be mad?
Yeah, I would have to wonder. First of all, if the venue is mad about it, how did they even get access to security footage without the venue knowing? I mean, you would have to go through someone at the venue. So it sounds like, someone at the venue was mad at one of their own employees for sharing that, which...
So, first comment, that's awful. Did you see anything useful on the security footage? OP responds, we sure did. I'm not sure how much I'm legally allowed to say yet, but it was an inside job.
And that's why they were mad. Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what in the sketchy? Like, you never know. There could always be one bad... What's the phrase?
One one bad egg,
One
one
bad
bad
egg.
apple. Yeah.
One bad apple in the
I
batch.
don't
Yeah.
know.
One bad bean. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. They're you can't always blame the space
Right.
for there being one person, but you know, if
But
there's
the cover up, that's what makes it
yes.
so bad.
Yes, like who was in on it?
Right.
Like why was the whole staff trying to take money from this couple? Does this happen often? Is
Right.
this like a continued scheme that this venue was doing?
I
And
hope not.
right? I feel like probably not, because how would you ever book another couple after that?
The responsible thing to do in that situation, if you have footage, especially footage that indicates that it's an inside job, again, whatever that means, whatever we're legally allowed to discuss, but if you have that sort of evidence with you, you should take it upon yourself to make that known and make the situation right and not have that employee work for you anymore.
Yes.
That should be your course of
Yes.
action.
You should not be trying to hide it.
Yeah.
You should be trying to say, how can I save face here? You know?
That looks a lot better to me on the
Yeah.
back end of the whole experience is to if I can say, okay, my venue, I experienced this, like hypothetically my wedding. I experienced this, but then they came back and they helped me find the person that had done it. All of a sudden, you've become my hero
Yes.
in helping me figure that
Yes.
out. And you could have done that, but you didn't.
Yeah, instead they were like an evil sidekick.
An accessory to
Yeah,
it.
an accessory,
Unfortunately,
literally,
yeah.
to crime.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
So, you know, I've never heard of a story like this before, so I don't want to like make people out there fearful for
Yeah.
their personal belongings. This is not why I brought up this story. I think it's just, how do you handle these situations that are unexpected in general? Like, no one could have anticipated that.
No.
And
It sounds like they were fully led to believe that that was a private, secure area,
yeah,
too.
and paid $2,000 for security to be present
Yeah.
that day.
Wow.
Yep. So that's really unfortunate. And I don't even know what to say in that. Maybe, you know, if you know that there's not a space in your venue that is secure, that you can lock the door to, but then it's like, what if employees have access to that?
Right.
This is a very out there story again. And I don't want to make it seem like this is going to happen to anybody.
Yeah, I
So,
wouldn't want anyone to be worrying and bringing 7 different lock boxes and a safe
No.
on their big day.
Exactly.
You know,
But
that
I just thought this
sounds-
was so crazy.
That is so crazy,
Yeah.
and it's sad to hear.
Yes. I had to put it on the podcast because,
Yeah.
you know, this is this person's story and it needs to be shared because they didn't deserve that.
Good on them, though, for advocating for themselves, because it sounds like they had an individual on the venue side that was willing to help them and that, you know,
Gave them
helped them
access to
give
the
that
footage.
information. And now they're going to use that to resolve the situation because the venue wasn't willing
Yeah.
to. That's unfortunate.
Looks like OP was able to get the money back on the credit card.
Good.
But they also ended up taking all of the tips for their vendors. Like they had cash that they were going to hand out to the DJ, to the
And
bar.
that was stolen.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that makes me sadder
That
than
is low.
anything because that was money that was going to very hardworking people.
Yeah.
And yeah, Bridal Babes, if you didn't know this, tip your vendors.
Tip your vendors. Yes.
They go above and beyond for you and deserve a little bit of extra love for how hard they work for us. So, ooh.
That I think that's just the extra adding insult to injury.
Yeah.
Is I not only was this my money, but I was planning to use it as essentially a gift to thank someone for going above and beyond.
Yes.
And now I either can't do that or
Yeah.
I'm out however much it was and I'm still doing it. But
Like he didn't just steal, or whoever stole
Whoever.
from them didn't just steal from the couple getting married. They stole from everyone
Yeah.
that invested their time into that big day.
those vendors are never going to want to go back to that venue too.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's so painful.
Yeah, and imagine, you know, let's say you're working with the planner coordinator that, you know, organized that whole wedding day. All of their clients moving forward. Well, the last time we went to that venue,
Just so you know,
you know,
like I would feel obligated to share that
Yeah.
too. And so it is unfortunate that the venue didn't do everything that they could in that moment to make sure they were on the good guy side of the thing,
Absolutely.
the story.
Yeah. You want to make it right.
Yeah, and because weddings are so word of mouth, and if you don't have a recommendation from somebody who went there and had a wedding or whatever, it's hard to know that you can trust them.
And
So,
weddings are emotionally charged as well. Well, I don't know
yes.
why you would want to play with fire in that scenario.
Right. Okay. Let's move on to the next story. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
There's the singing.
Never ends. Okay. So, Venue and I had a disagreement and they canceled my wedding. I just need to vent. I booked my wedding at the beginning of February. This was about a year ago. I went to the venue and loved it. During my tour there, I specifically asked the owner if their preferred vendors were required, and she said no. I put my deposit down and continued on my planning journey. I spoke with all three of their preferred caterers, and each wanted $25,000 to $30,000 for food only.
How many guests?
I'm like, in what state?
I'm Alaska?
For 500 people?
I don't know. 500 polar bears.
500 polar bears, 3 penguins. Okay. Are there penguins in Alaska? I don't think so.
You could convince me right now, and I wouldn't doubt you.
Do you know the answer? There are whales.
There are whales.
It's an underwater wedding. That's
Yeah.
why it's so expensive.
No, I think all the penguins are in the South Pole.
That's
I said
right.
I didn't know, but I think I did.
I actually do know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the penguin guy.
Okay. Based upon the owner's representations to me, I started to look elsewhere. I found a business I really liked, and he reached out to the venue to get a better idea of the availability to his company. The owner promptly emailed me that the preferred vendors are exclusive. Now, I'm an attorney, so words matter to me.
Yeah.
Not once in my meeting with the owner nor the contract that she had me sign mentioned we had to use a preferred vendor. When I brought up that she stated we didn't have to use a preferred vendor and I did not agree to that in the contract, she backpedaled and she said she must have misunderstood my question.
What?
When I asked her to reconsider, she stated she would just send me my deposit back. So now I just feel disheartened. It's still about 15 months away, but as we all know, stuff books fast, and I live in a small state. I'm sad and frustrated, and I'm starting to understand why the wedding business gets such a bad rap. Oh,
That is so unfortunate because,
know.
I mean, it is situations like that. I've toured couples where they have that, fear in their eyes because they've heard those stories. And unfortunately, they do happen.
Yeah.
Words matter.
Yeah.
And I think something that we've run into now in all, however many stories it's been, all of these stories is communication is so key in planning and organizing and executing a wedding.
Yes.
If you're not communicating, as a vendor, as a family member that's involved in the planning process, as a bride or a groom, then you just have to communicate. So I'm so glad that this, was it a bride or a groom or?
They didn't mention anything about...
I'm so glad
Yeah.
that the OP stood up for themselves and, kind of read through that contract, because read your contracts.
Yes.
It is so important.
Yes.
Tip your vendors, read your contracts, communicate. Those
The
are going
three
to be our
rules of weddings.
three lessons today. And DIFY.
Yeah. Can't forget that one.
Can't forget it. But you have to communicate clearly. If that contract doesn't require that, then they should not be able to just switch that up on you
Yes.
after it's signed and paid.
Yes. And like the verbiage, required versus preferred.
Yeah.
If you're going to call something preferred, that does not say anywhere in the word that it is an essential must-have. No, you cannot use anyone besides this vendor.
And from the way that this reads too, it doesn't even sound like, the venue said, well, we have requirements for vendors that they
Yes.
have to meet, and this vendor doesn't meet it. It sounds
Yes.
like they just said, our vendors are exclusive. It has to be one of those.
Yes.
And that's the problem, because I understand having requirements for your vendors. I've got requirements for vendors as well. But I don't say that you have to choose from a specific list. They just come with a strong recommendation,
because you can advocate for them.
Yeah, we love them. They've done wonderful work and they know the facility, so I
Yeah.
highly recommend them. But
Yeah.
if you have, a very specific florist that you want to work with, who am I to stand in your way of, changing that aspect of
Right.
your dream wedding?
Yeah. And I do know some venues have required specifically for catering, maybe
Yeah.
bar service,
Yep.
because they have worked with a wide variety and
Hmm.
they know who can work the space well. Every venue's different, has different kitchens and
Yeah.
catering, prep rooms, and liabilities when it comes to serving alcohol. So I have seen that before, but it's stated required.
Yeah,
This is
let me
our
be
list.
clear. There is no issue with having a required vendor list. I mean, that is something that a lot of venues have, and they have it because it works and it protects their investment in the
Yes.
venue for all the other couples that are going to be, using that venue for the most important, well, for many, one of the most important days of their lives.
Yeah.
I do not have a required vendor list. Many do, and power to them, because that's what works well for their business model. They do the work of stating it up front and
Exactly.
making sure that that's clearly communicated.
And that's the important thing
Where
here.
it gets messy is covering that up or miscommunicating.
Yes,
you know.
exactly. Just not like, if you're going to use the word preferred, and I might be wrong, but in this industry, that means recommended. It doesn't mean you have to use these.
Yeah, I think I think every venue's different, and there are some that do have preferred lists where that can mean a little bit more than just preferred. But what really matters is the verbiage in the contract and the
Right.
verbiage on that it says on that list, whether or not it's required or just highly recommended. I know that there are some where they have a preferred vendor list, and you either have to choose from that list or you have to get a vendor approved.
Right.
So every venue is different. Know the rules, communicate to your clients, and communicate with your vendors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just going back to that price for food. That's crazy.
I really want to know how many people that was and what they were serving.
I know. Like, was
'Cause
it
it makes-
lobster tail
I hope.
and like filet mignon with gold flakes?
It could be. Well, and I guess, what else was included with that service.
Right.
But that's a
Sorry.
hefty price tag. You're good.
Sorry, Bridal Babes. Just choked on my own spit. Okay. It did say for food only. It
Wow.
wasn't food and drinks.
Wow. Not
Yeah.
food and drinks, and it's not decor
Yeah.
or anything
No.
like that. Wow.
It doesn't say linens, doesn't say any kind of table decor rentals. And I could understand 25,000 for food and drink for like a 250
Yeah,
person
yeah.
wedding, and they're getting the gold package.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like that's not an entry level food option.
No. And what I think is the key indicator here, it sounds like they were able to find someone who was offering quality services at a different price point. So it just sounds like all the vendors that were required had that high price tag to them.
Yep. And it sounded like she was in a small state, so maybe, I'm picturing like Rhode Island or Vermont, like things are just maybe more expensive. But
What did she say? I think I missed that.
she
Or
said,
they, I guess we don't know.
yeah,
right?
sorry. OP said it's still about 15 months away, but as we all know, stuff books fast, and I live in a small state.
Oh, small state. Okay.
I'm sad and frustrated.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
not like you have a whole lot of people to choose from that might be licensed within that state.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that can be frustrating within itself. And to go through all this work for them to find a vendor that will work with them, and then have to go back to square one, because you can't really book anything until you book your venue.
No, you can't.
Like-
And I worry that others might have already been booked at that point.
Yeah. Especially if you're in a small state. So, OP, I hope everything ended up going well. Let's see if they have any updates.
Yeah, my heart goes out to you because,
Yeah.
again, though, I am loving these couples standing up for themselves and knowing the rules, because that is really, really the key.
Yeah. They have some other stories asking wedding questions. It seems like their wedding is still in like maybe 5 months.
Okay.
They still have some time.
Exciting.
I know, right?
I'm sure, I mean, if it was 15 months and now it's 5, I'm sure they figured it out at this point.
Yes. And they're posting like, exciting things about their wedding engagement ring.
Oh,
So it does look like it's the
pretty.
bride. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do hope you have a good wedding, and it would be amazing. I'm going to try and reach out to you and see how that's going.
Yes.
And hopefully you see it, and maybe you'll listen to this episode and hear what we have to say and know that you're not alone.
You're not. You're
And
not.
you have a support system here that will.
We love you.
Yeah, we freaking love you so much. Okay. Next story. Oh, this one just geeked me out when I read the title earlier.
Ooh, I'm excited.
My parents might not be coming to my wedding because of a llama show they go to every year. Weren't expecting that, were you?
What?
What in the llama?
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Longish post. I, 23 female, am getting married to my fiance, 29 male, this summer and have no idea if my parents will be going or not. Backstory. When I was a kid, I saw a llama in the newspaper and wanted it, so we got two, which in the last 15 years has turned into a family business of over 100 llamas,
What?
where we breed, sell, and show llamas all over the U.S. Throughout the summer months, we usually go to 10 to 20 shows. My mother, 51 female, is the main force behind the business, as she does most of the administration work, showing, and marketing for the farm. And my dad, 50 male, does the driving to and from shows and the physical farm work. Also like to add that the llamas are not my parents' main source of income, and they both have careers separate from the farm. This sounds like a family I want to be friends with.
I know. I really want to. I want to know what's going on.
Go-getters, like just, raising llamas on the side.
Well, and I feel like dinner at their place, farm to table, not like llama, not llama, but I just
Oh my god. No llama
not
was
the
harmed
llama
in the
burgers.
making.
No. But it sounds like, they have a very cool
Wholesome.
agrarian lifestyle.
Yes.
You know.
If they have space for 100 llamas, just or like casually had 2 llamas.
Right.
Seem like pretty down to earth people.
Right. And
yeah.
growing from 2 to 100.
Right.
That's
Insane.
wow.
Yeah. Okay. Side note. My mother has always been difficult about everything.
So we're not coming into this with any baggage, right?
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah.
When I graduated from basic training, she refused to go. And when asked, it was because she had to, quote, stay home to feed the llamas. We have a girl we pay to come feed the llamas when we go to shows, so it's not like she had to stay. Then, when my dad wanted to go, she let him on the condition he drove the trailer and picked up a llama she bought on the way. If you go, you better pick up that llama.
Oh my gosh.
It was 3 hours out of the way of an already 15-hour drive, adding an extra 6 hours to the trip.
Don't come back without the llama.
The current issue. Back in December, I was trying to book a venue for my wedding and asked my parents, grandparents, and mother-in-law if there was any dates that would absolutely not work for them. Mm-hmm. Everyone said, whenever works, we will be there. My mother flat out stated that she was not going to any llama shows under a certain show association. So dramatic. Okay, cool. So a week later, I let everyone know we had 3 dates in order of preference for the wedding, to which everyone again said no problem.
Okay.
My mom did mention the third option was the same day as the llama show my parents normally go to every year, but it is run by the show association she didn't want to support. Hence, they wouldn't be going.
Great.
A week after that, I hear back from the venue, and they have my third option date available, but not the first 2. So I reserved it and reached out to mother-in-law, grandparents, and parents to let them know the date I set. I didn't get a response right away from my mom, so I called my dad, and he tells me he's excited and he'll be there. Then in the background, I hear my mom saying, "That's the weekend of the llama show, and I don't know if I want to go to the show or not." To which I tell her the venue is already reserved. After a few days, I call her to talk about wedding planning things, and she tells me flat out, I'm not going. I'll be at said llama show. I told her, fine. I guess if this one show you attend every year is more important than her only daughter's wedding, so be it. After a week or so, I'm talking to my grandmother who tells me my mom told her over the phone that she is incapable of driving the llama trailer to the show by herself. So it's likely she could crash and die and it will all be my fault.
What?
Drama.
Llama drama.
Llama drama.
Oh, llama
Couple
drama from the llama mama.
llama mama, keep it calm on the drama.
Oh,
Too much.
I'm sorry.
We're all dying in this office. Okay. Not to like undermine how the real emotions here, but it is just
Yes.
llamas being involved is just geeking me out. Um, okay, after a week or so, I'm talking to my grandmother who tells me blah blah. Okay, we read that. A couple days later, I call my dad to check in with him, and he says he's not sure if he can go, as she's telling him he has to go to the llama show now too, and if he goes to my wedding, he will not have a home to return to. When trying to send out save the dates, she would refuse to give me certain people's contact info because, quote, if I'm not going, they won't want to go. Her exact words. So currently my dad is trying to find the right time to tell her he's going. But he has always been a bit of a pushover, so I'm genuinely worried he might not be able to go. My mother has also started telling people, my grandmother included, which is how I found out, that I planned for my wedding to fall on this llama show weekend because I knew she wouldn't be able to make it, and I'm doing this so she can't go because I'm, quote, a bully, and she has to go to this show or else it will, quote, hurt the business. I don't think I'm being the a-hole in this, and neither does anyone else I've talked to about it. Any words or advice would be appreciated. That was long-winded. I'm sorry. Let me know if you
No.
need me to read any of that back to you.
No, I think the reading comprehension is coming through.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Seems like mom has some, I don't want to call them issues, but just obstacles in her own life to work through. And
Yeah.
that is coming out in a lot of different areas that it's like a personal problem and other people are having to deal with it now.
Here's the thing is our bride,
Yeah.
she did the work of confirming that that day would work, confirming that that was not a show that the business needed to go to.
Yeah.
We also have the context of knowing that there are 20 to 50 llama shows in a summer. You know,
Yeah, 10
so
to 20, yeah.
Oh, 10 to 20.
But still,
10
so
to-
many
10
shows.
to 20.
Yeah.
That's a lot of llama shows. I think, I don't know. But
I think that's a lot of llama shows.
yeah, if you've done the work of communicating that these are the days that are available, this is not our most preferable date, but we might have to do it.
Yeah.
And then your answer is, well, I'm not going to that other show anyway, so go ahead. Like, that's totally fine. You've made your bed. Don't take it personally that they're, again, not going to change their date.
Yeah.
Because you decided something and didn't communicate it.
Yeah, you changed your opinion about wanting to attend the show too.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like at the time it was up in the air. It was
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't, I don't know.
I don't want to support that company. I will not be going to that llama
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
And yeah, for OP, this bride, to have gone out of her way in asking so many people, hey, will this date work for you? I didn't ask anyone.
Yeah.
I literally was like, this date is basically our anniversary. It's the day before our 7th anniversary.
Oh.
So that sounds good to me. And I didn't ask anyone if they'd be free. I just said, this is our date. You better open up your schedule.
Yeah. Well, and you're planning far enough in advance, typically with these things,
Right.
that there's not a whole lot of conflict to be expected. What really, like, kind of pulls up, again, I'm going to use the same phrasing, but tugs at my heartstrings hearing this one is that the mom is not even giving her the contact information for
Other
the
people,
other guests.
right? That's so manipulative.
Aunt Tammy won't come if I'm not there.
Mom, like, you're not that important.
And okay, so that is actually such a good mantra for everyone. I am not that important.
Yeah.
Because it works in so many different ways. First of all, like, no one needs to change their plans for me. And if they're going to keep doing that, then great. I hope they have a wonderful time and I'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. Go to your llama show, whatever, but don't keep other people from attending,
Right.
including my own father, who you're now forcing to drive the llama trailer because you're saying that if he doesn't, you're going to die and it's all my fault.
Yeah, it's manipulative at that point.
Yes, it is very manipulative
Yeah.
behavior. And whether that's coming from a place that mom is aware of and has had treatment for, or if mom just needs to get some help with those obstacles in her life, it's time.
Yeah.
Because this is her only daughter. And, it seems like her only daughter only wants to get married once. And if you're choosing not to be there, and it sounds like maybe it's coming from a place of anxiety, like honestly, of just not wanting to be around these people, not knowing how to handle that kind of event. Maybe mom just wants to be in her comfort zone, going to the llama show, operating with her llamas, and doesn't want to get out of her comfort zone.
And I mean, maybe mom did want to go to the llama show and didn't feel comfortable saying, actually, I can't do that date. But if you're going to, take that gamble and not communicate, again,
Right.
communicate, then you have to accept that there might be a day that doesn't work for you.
Yes. And find a different llama show to go to.
Yeah. It's 1 year.
Yeah.
It's 1 year, and
It's
this
one llama.
is the wedding.
Yeah.
So please be there.
Please. Dear mom, please leave the llamas at home and come to my wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so let's see. Top comment says, call her bluff. Get the addresses, send the save the dates, keep planning your wedding.
Yeah.
Once she sees that you are going full steam ahead, she should concede. If she doesn't, you have bigger problems than a wedding. And that's kind of what I got from all of this, was this is a personal problem that mom has probably, and like she said, she didn't go to her
Her graduation.
from basic training and all these different things. It does seem like an anxiety thing to me, and I don't want to diagnose. I'm just saying from a place of having anxiety.
Yeah.
I've ever held myself back from amazing experiences because I get in my head and I want to stay in my comfort zone.
Some kind of obstacle. I like the word that you used there because, again,
Yeah.
I think as well, with saying, if I'm not there, then these guests that maybe through me or who I have their contact information won't come. What are you then saying? You're saying these people
don't care about your
don't
daughter.
care about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What does that imply?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would be so painful to hear from your own mother of oh, well, I'm the one that matters more than you. And if
Right.
I'm not there, then why would they go to the wedding?
Yeah.
I don't know, Mom, maybe to watch me get married. Maybe not to talk. Maybe it's not about coming and chatting with you. Maybe it's about watching me walk down the aisle. I don't know. So anyway,
DIFY.
DIFY girl, and if that means mom and dad are missing out on one of the best days of your life, that I'm so sorry. You have us as a support system to talk to about this. We have people, including myself, that are going through hard situations when it comes to family dynamics and weddings. And so we are totally a safe place to talk about all these things with and feel supported and just you're not alone in any of this, because you're not. And unfortunately, these kind of issues arise more frequently than we're aware of.
More than you expect.
You know?
I hope, my heart goes out to them. I hope that they did just go full steam ahead and plan the wedding that they wanted. And whoever can make it, wonderful. Whoever can't, let's celebrate it together another time.
I just read a comment that says, this is nuts, but hire her competitors' llamas to walk you down the aisle as your attendant.
Oh my gosh.
And then someone responded to that, this is the way. Do you know what that's from?
From Mandalorian.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I knew you'd know.
Oh my gosh.
This is the way.
This is the way. They just had a new season, right?
I think they're about to come out
They're
with
about
one.
to.
Maybe
Okay.
maybe it came out this weekend, actually.
Ooh, I have something to look forward to.
I did see the trailer recently, though. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Exciting.
Yeah. Did you see Andor?
No.
Oh my gosh, you have to watch it.
No, and my old boss was, an old boss turned close friend, was texting me about it as
Oh my
well
gosh.
at one point, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this sounds so good. I need to watch it. Even people that didn't get into Star Wars, I think, were watching that show.
That's amazing. The second half of the season really kept me on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. yeah, I would rewatch the whole thing, honestly.
Okay. I need to turn that on
Because
when
there's
I
so
get
many
home.
little details, and that's like the whole Star Wars plot line. There's just like so many things that you can pick up every time you rewatch the shows and the movies that it's like, oh my gosh, this is helping it make so much sense.
Is that something you and Jackson connect over?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
is it gonna find its way?
You know, we might incorporate something Star Wars
Groom's
into.
cake?
We're not doing a groom's cake.
Not doing a groom's cake.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah. The last few weddings I've been to, the groom's cake doesn't get touched
Okay.
because it's too beautiful.
Oh,
And people want it to just
to stay
be,
pretty.
they want it to
Yeah.
stay beautiful,
Yeah.
which is totally fair, but it's also like way more expensive than a normal wedding cake because it's so intricate.
Intricate and all that
So,
fondant work.
Yes,
Usually I think it's
yeah,
fondant.
it's a lot of fondant
Yeah.
typically because they'll do like a water burger or a soccer field,
Yeah.
or my cousin had the Marvel with the Infinity Stone.
Oh, yeah. The gauntlet, the
Yeah.
Infinity Gauntlet.
the
Thanos,
Bridal Babes
yeah.
on YouTube. I'm just like holding up my fist, like, what is that thing?
This thing, you know him?
You ever met this before?
You know who does a great groom's cake is Amber at Mimo's Bakery.
Yeah.
She did. She came to our showcase at the club, and there was one that I remember above all the rest, which was there was this really cute like Dia de los Muertos one, but there was this one that was like a ramen bowl.
Shut up.
And it had like the
Noodles and
eggs
the
in
egg.
it
Oh
and
my
the noodles,
God.
and the spoon was even supported up by noodles that were coming
It
up
was
from
a
the bowl.
floating spoon.
It was a floating spoon.
That's talent. That's
It
like
was so cool.
that's like something you'd see on a baking show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shout out to Mimos. But
Oh my gosh. I actually think that had to be our last story because we're pushing almost an hour and a half now.
oh my gosh, we have gone on, haven't we?
And I could keep going on forever, but
I could too. I'm having so much fun here.
Yeah. So I think that's it. I'm gonna read one more comment
Okay.
just because OP responded to this. So I have a weird sense of humor, so I'd send the llamas an invitation and mail it to her. And then I just refused to engage with her further. You did everything right. She's being insane.
Yeah.
I don't want to use that word, and no sense in engaging her. OP says, haha, yes, that would be beautiful to send an invite to the llamas and not her. LOL.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like she wants a reaction. So
And then someone else says, LOL, or give her a plus 100 instead of a plus 1. All the llamas are welcome.
no, because after the next couple shows, it's going to be 105 llamas.
Yeah.
Yes.
If she's making dad pick up a llama everywhere he goes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that made me laugh.
Oh my gosh. I mean, such a unique story.
Yeah.
It's really it's really cool, I think, to read all these stories that are out there on Reddit. Did you say Reddit?
Reddit.
Reddit, right?
Wedding Reddit.
At first I was like, okay, Elmer Fudd, got it. And then I was like, oh no, wedding Reddit.
Love. True love.
It's Reddit season.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
It is on Bridal Buzz. It's always Reddit season. And yeah, I think it's like some of these stories are so things you never heard before.
Yeah.
And I think it's just such a reminder of like whatever I'm going through in my wedding planning, it could be worse than what someone else is going through. It could be easier, but something is happening in everyone's lives.
Yeah.
There's something coming up in everyone's wedding planning. There's also so many moments worth celebrating. And it's hard for me to share those ones specifically on Reddit because they're very visually focused. It's people showing a lot of pictures of their wedding.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people write stories of like the beautiful moments. They'll share pictures. So it's a lot harder for me to talk about those on the podcast. If you're wondering why we're sticking to more like outrageous situations.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's because it's just there's a lot more written story about that on
Yeah.
Reddit. But yes, Bridal Babes, you're not alone. Your wedding planning is a unique journey and you are a unique person, and I just wanted to remind everybody of that. And yeah, I don't know how many times I can say that. You're not alone. We are here to help support you if, you're going through anything with family not accepting you or just family being unhinged for llama drama reasons. I hope this podcast can become a place for you to feel the love where you're not feeling it from others. So thank you, Christian, for coming in.
Thank you for having
having
me.
so much fun with us today. If they want to find more from you, from your venue, plug where to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So for all things Fair Oaks Ranch, you can follow us on Instagram at Fair Oaks Ranch Golf CC. On Instagram, we're also on Facebook, Fair Oaks Ranch Golf and Country Club. And then you can also find us on, Wedding Wire, Eventective, a lot of the different
Directories.
directories, and then of course San Antonio Weddings.
Yeah.
Check us out on YouTube. We don't really have a YouTube channel, but on the Bridal Buzz channel, we did do a little feature on Fair
Yes.
Oaks Ranch, so you can see a bit of the venue, hear a little bit more from me about what we do at the club, and then even get to meet our executive chef and see some of his culinary stylings.
Yeah. You'll be able to basically taste it through the video. It's
Yeah, that's
so reliving the moment in
I
my
am
head right now.
blessed to eat there every day. Let me tell you.
You're like, oh no, you want me to try a new menu offering?
I'm like, oh, you changed the menu again. Oh no.
I need to try
now I just
everything.
have to try it all.
I have to try the salad first to see how it pairs with the steak after.
Well, and it's January, so they're doing like a whole string of New Year, New Me items. So of course you've still got like the really fun hearty items, like the flatbreads with the chicken parm, burrata, and things like that. But now that, it's the start of the year, people are, starting with their resolutions, trying to, maybe just eat a little bit cleaner
Yeah.
or up their intake of certain
More whole foods and-
macronutrients, things like
Right.
that. We have zoodles on the side with a lot of our fish dishes. We're adding cauliflower rice to the menu, things like that.
Okay, plant-based, diet friendly.
So there's a lot of options.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay, and if they want to like follow you as a person, do you want to plug your
Sure,
personal-
yeah. On Instagram, I'm Christian Mingle Official.
Hey.
Pretty easy to find. And that's pretty much the only platform that I actually use.
Yeah.
On Facebook, it's just my name, Christian Broughton.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty much a one platform guy outside of work.
For me, I'm like I've been posting more on my personal Instagram, but it's just yeah. The people are I'm lucky if I get to put anything out there because I just do so much for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I'm
You're
spending
welcome.
more of my time on everything else.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks again for being here. And Bridal Babes, don't forget the buzz does not stop here. We are everywhere online: TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest. We have new episodes every week that are, kind of like this. We have somebody fun come in and react to some Reddit stories and just give you as much wedding advice as we can in the funnest way possible. So make sure you turn on those notifications, subscribe, leave us a review. I would actually just melt inside out if you left a review for us because it just means the world to me that you would be willing to support us in that way. So do it. I love you, and we'll see you next time. So if you would, just wave to this camera here and say
Oh,
bye.
that one right there?
Yeah. Oh,
All
wait,
right.
actually,
Oh.
this one.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the middle.
All right, in the middle.
Bye.
Bye.